I've hit the recording button. So, welcome everyone to the first weekly show of our four-person wrestling league. I have no idea if anyone's going to watch this outside of the four of us, but it will be posted to YouTube, so it's possible. If you haven't seen the first stream, it has been hosted on twitch.tv/redshirtking. But we're here to put together 4 weekly shows, one for each of the 4 stables that are competing against each other, 3 of which had incredible opening days, and one of which is doing their best. How are you feeling headed into today's matches here, Xander?
You know, winning the pay-per-view felt good. Got to make some adjustments for the weekly stuff. Not quite, I think, prepared on this first card, but we're gonna get some stuff moving. We got a couple of solid plans. And yeah, Gloria Wrestling is ready to try and maintain its ride along the top here.
Yeah, well, you are the faction to beat as of right now, but we are going to start with my magically enhanced wrestling just because might as well knock my stuff out first. You see, we're starting with a faction battle here. The Southern Sentries versus the Eastern Elite. You know, these are heel and face factions. As you will remember, my fantasy world has split into 6 different factions here. Obviously, a lot of talent on the Southern Sentries. Joey Smoking Gun Ace, great name, great wrestler. Oxley and Magnus are both incredible. Meanwhile, you got Eli Chaos, Vinny Stacks, and LT Baron. So, who do you think I'm giving the win to on this one?
I'm gonna say it should go to. Actually, this is hard. They're both star-studded rosters here for your 2 factions. I want to say the Southern Sentries take the first one, but yeah, I could see Eastern Elite doing it as well.
The Eastern Elite are doing it as well because Eli Chaos is a fucking legend, and LT Baron putting himself on the map with a holy shit moment in our opening match. Already paid
LT Baron
for the submission match, so thank you for that. My man. 4.5 stars? I'll take that for a random opening match.
Yeah, not bad for
also,
a gimmick. Yeah.
Somehow, my new gimmick package for Alana Elise made her less popular. Less over, but more popular. I don't love that. Okay, cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, I guess it's like 4 stars. What the hell? I guess.
Yeah, it's not bad. Just unfortunate overness change.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be unfortunate. She is going in now to. We have a 6-way tag elimination match. Shooting Stars are our current champions here with Malachite Bronson and Cyan Orion. Shots Fired, Overflow, Rude Awakening are the ones most affected by Alana's heel turn that we saw in that last section, the pretentious philosopher character that she's going with. So, you know, a lot of good options here. Who do you think it's going to take it? Do you think we're getting a title change on a random weekly show?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think you're going to do it with the title change. I think you keep the title for this week. Let them build this up a little bit more, and hopefully everyone else is okay with that.
I'm not going to even pretend. Yeah, no, that's exactly what's happening for sure. No, what do you mean an injury?
Oh, gosh. Another injury.
What the hell?
Who's injured?
Oh, shit. It was that, Hanaruwaka, I guess, made it into the match, even though I was trying not to use her. She didn't re-injure herself, so I guess it's fine. But I guess I didn't pay enough attention to which tag teams I was using. So, reminder to the rest of you, definitely don't use somebody in a tag team. Or make sure you're not using that tag team if you're going to use it elsewhere. Oopsie poopsie. Anyway, it's still a 4-star match. Tilly Cooper. See, her new thing worked out great. She's, she's my heel. Excuse me. I think Alana became a face. So they just don't like smart people in my company. But they like the authoritarian patriot, so Here we
Yeah,
go.
unfortunate. Only 2.5 stars.
Yeah, well, it's a reminder that they don't like when you do the same package type in
Ah,
the
yes,
same
the double
card,
gimmick change.
which
Got it.
unfortunately I think is going to affect at least one of our other competitors here, but we'll get to that when we get there. The important thing for me is that she got the overness change. She's now over with the fans, and that helps her substantially moving forward. Especially because in this fatal four-way street match, we've got her, Duka, Viuda, and Kagetsi. This is one of those three heels and poor Duka, who is a champion in the tag situation, but not necessarily feeling great going up against three heels right now. Where do you see this one going?
I mean, I would say Duka still comes out with it. She's the star of the show in regard to who's here. I could see you giving it to Tilly Cooper with her new authoritarian patriot leaning and kind of swinging it. And yeah, you do.
I sure do.
And the crowd loves it, actually.
The
so,
crowd,
well,
yeah, I mean, not quite a 5-star match, but everybody gets the benefit of it. That's another huge overness change for Tilly, and I believe that makes a hot feud between Kagetsi and Tilly. That is a hot match for Vita and Duka, and I think that might be another boost. And look at that. I've had 3 matches, and all 3 of them had a holy shit moment.
Right on. Yeah, you're already looking like my my pay-per-view here. You might clear me considering there's fewer matches. So
oh, of course,
looking
yes.
good.
Yeah, you know,
looking good for Magical Wrestling right now.
I mean, we'll see if your weekly show could live up to that. But that is so far, I'm feeling pretty all right about that.
King of the Thunderdome.
Yeah, it is. So this is one of those kind of makeup matches. I was originally planning on having Monty feud Ashton, but I accidentally misclicked, and so he was feuding against somebody else. So I needed to get that feud started in time for my pay-per-view. I'm going to be honest with you, this is not necessarily intentional, but these are 2 great wrestlers. Who do you see getting the nod here?
Oh, man. I mean, you know, in my opinion, my humble opinion, I would think that you give it to Ashton here, forcing the build for Monty. Wait, is this a belt on the line?
It is a belt, and Monty does have it.
Oh, okay. So then you're gonna want to keep the belt for Monty, of course.
Yeah. Too early,
I misunderstood, but yeah.
The fall from grace kicks off because Ashton, poor guy, went from 800 to 792, and that's considered a major fall off in this game for reasons.
Yeah. For reasons.
Yeah. I upgraded my steel cage match a little bit. We'll take that for later. And now, this is the match everyone's been waiting for. A 7-way elimination tag match. Because we need a new champion. Because the Magic Missiles are unfortunately out of the count.
Ah, yes, the Magic Missiles. The injury on the 0% chance, unfortunate. 0.0001 apparently.
Apparently, yeah. It's amazing when they just fucking say 0. That's just really rubbing it in. But, you know, Highway Robbery are the ones that did it, right? They really got away with one could say. But, you know, obviously, you've got the Hylian Cross, no bullshit, unbelievable, Savage Vengeance, a lot of talented tags here. But I'm going to be honest with you. I think everybody knows which way this has to go because we're all going to want the Magic Missiles versus Highway Robbery for the title when the injury's done. So I'm not even going to pretend. Enjoy it.
Totally valid. You're going to continue the storyline. Makes sense.
And that's
good
a
match.
5-star match.
You've got some blood going down.
Yeah. Get some feuds going further. And tell me I got, oh, here we go. Another holy shit moment.
The 4th holy shit moment.
Look, it's a weekly show, but I paid maybe a little bit more than I typically would, but I got a 4.5-star show, despite the fact that I had that gimmick penalty for doing a second package in the same day. 68 points means really not that much because I got over 120 from the holy shit moment, so we're taking it. But now, we're going to see if you can keep up your own hype around after such a strong pay-per-view.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
what can people expect on Wednesday Night Triumph here?
Yeah, so Wednesday Night Triumph, of course, supposed to be you know, the weekly show that reestablishes you know, and builds going into the pay-per-views. And it is on a Wednesday night, which of course a notoriously positive wrestling night. That being said, we got some big stuff coming here. We have a new belt on the line, the women's heavyweight belt up once again between Ume and Emily, and the special referee match. So, and then in between, we've got some fire matches going on, a couple of new feuds, some big stuff that we got planned. And then at the very beginning, a high level elite one-on-one, the only time we've done something like this.
Yeah, tell us
between
about
Eric Hangtime. Yeah, so you got Eric Hangtime and Kai Galvana, two monsters within the promotion, wrestling in a submission match. And this is just a 1v1, kind of continuing what happened in the men's heavyweight here. And so you've got the two biggest heels, arguably, or two of the biggest heels, I think, in the top four of the promotion, throwing down, trying to make their move to grab the title, of course, from the elder Hangtime. But Eric wants to make his name. He's the second Hangtime brother. And Kai Galvana has been that other guy consistently pushing for the Emperor's Belt title. So the two of them here, sort of a contenders match. Whoever wins this one sets themselves up to be the next guy in line for the Emperor's Belt.
I do like that you said consistently fighting for it, as if we've only had more than just the one pay-per-view so far.
Yeah, consistently fighting for it over the long duration that has been the 1 month in which this league has started.
Yeah, that long duration wasn't enough for you to understand where good old Kenny Diaz was coming from, but, I guess long is relative.
Kenny Diaz, not happy with how the promotion was going, felt he was working very hard on the one night that we've had so far, and when I told him to shut up and deal with it, he told me he kind of wanted to leave. And so now, also patching that up. But we got this match going on. And, of course, it's going to go to Eric Hangtime.
Eric Hangtime. Now, that is potentially big, because that is going to bring Kai Galvana to 999 popularity. If he loses another match, he may no longer be considered a face of the company. So
absolutely. Keeping it close. We did have some room, but Eric is on his way up here. Eric really is trying to vie for the acclaim that his older brother has, that being Johnny Hangtime, of course, the actual penultimate face of the promotion right now, and Kai taking a hit, still a face of the company, but Eric you can't stop the momentum he's got right now, the storylines that are on their way for Hangtime Heresy against the Hangtime Empire. You got a bunch of Hangtime stuff going down right now. Yeah. And so Eric's just too hot, can't be beat today.
Well, and most importantly, that gets him above the 1,000 popularity threshold. So if you keep him there for 6 months, Eric Hangtime will be a face of the company. So that is
absolutely
some factors to keep in mind. Also, holy shit moment. Just want to throw that out there. The finisher off the top rope, you do love to see it. But of course, now we've got a 6-way first blood match, which it feels like the one holding the chainsaw might have a slight advantage in this particular match, but
yeah, of course, this is a big match. If you want to hover over them real quick, you see Xander Cage, the Painted Warrior. All right, this guy's kind of an up-and-comer for a heel. You've got Kota Super, the Prince of Harlem, who's relatively established, making a pretty big name for himself. Bruno Henderson, one of our lower-end guys, but very talented. Okay, he's been getting in the mix a lot more than even some of the lower mid-carders. So, he's building his acclaim up. Dietrich Mullen, a face, but someone who's kind of been a little bit of a guy that takes a beating here and there for everyone else. And then, of course, we've got Anastasia next. She is rapidly becoming one of the stars, especially amongst the women in the promotion. And then Danny Cole, they are the bright future, as you can see, on their way up as well, despite the last loss. They are young, but they are climbing. However, today, it's really a battle between Kota Super and Anastasia. Everybody else here giving a good fight, but it's going to come down to them. And I'm going to ask you, Mr. Redshirt King, who do you think is going to be the one taking it home between those two?
Between those two. Okay.
Yes, between Kota Super and Anastasia.
Kota Super and Anastasia. I would give it to Anastasia personally. She is the hardcore lady. I think it makes a statement when you put the female wrestlers in the match. If they can beat the male wrestlers, you are setting an anything is possible standard. That's the way I would go personally. But, you know, I look at Kota Super, and I get it, but I think Anastasia is worth
Well,
getting the
you
bump
called it right, because Anastasia is the one who brings it home today. In a close match with Kota at the end, Anastasia takes it home.
Okay, Anastasia takes it home. And what a big win for her. What a big match. That's a 5+ star match. You don't get a lot of those in a weekly show. You don't get a lot of those when there isn't a belt attached. That tells you that you're doing something right. Kota Super was the one who ended up bleeding. So it was between the two, and they were the stars of the show. But man, what a win for Anastasia. That's going to be...
Also happy to see Danny Cole didn't take too much of a hit about it. It was pretty good. Danny Cole and Anastasia have that little feud going. So still a good night for Danny Cole as well.
Absolutely. You do have a feud package that highlights the Chaos Raid versus Menelaus feud here, which also helps kick off that end of the line feud you've got between the Burn It All Down and the Band of Brigands. One of those factions will not exist within the next 3 months when that comes to a close.
Yeah, so of course, Burn It All Down, led by Executioner Goro, who's not featured in this match, but or actually maybe Executioner Goro is. I can't remember who's in. No, he's not, because he's not in Chaos Reigns. Okay. Whoops. But yeah. So, but however, just highlighting the factions real quick. These are the two up-and-coming factions. So of course, you've got For the People and Conquest or Death as the two primary factions. They are the ones that have the most hype. 5 out of 7 currently, right? In terms of the match and hype number that we saw in the first pay-per-view. And so these are the up-and-coming factions. And right now, Burn It All Down has the upper hand. Band of Brigands trying to make a name for themselves. But we're going to see what it comes down to here. And you can look at Chaos Reigns. Got a ton of very talented workers. Krieger, Sebastian Chaos, and Skullface. Krieger and Skullface, of course, being a tag team. And then you've got Menelaus, okay, Gavin Evans, Green Arrow, and Regan Awesome. Regan Awesome, definitely someone who's been making a bit of a name for themselves. And that's why tonight they're going to be the ones that take it home.
I love this, honestly. I think a faction that has 3 faces all on the same page versus Chaos Reigns that a little chaotic. They've got some faces, they've got some heels. I think this is a great way to start off your belt here. And that is going to be a near 5-star match with the Triple Glory Championship going their way. A great start to a trio belt.
Menelaus taking the new belt, of course, which I did mention earlier but forgot to mention in the setup. But yes, the Triple Glory belt, our new trio belt. Looking at the other promotions, looking at how stuff kind of rolled out, and after our success in the first pay-per-view, we wanted to say, hey, you know what? We got room for one more glory opportunity here, and we've got some talented guys. So Regan Awesome really being the one that set that up. But of course, the holy shit moment, Green Arrow jumping off the 20-foot ladder onto Krieger. And it makes sense. Those are also 2 very talented wrestlers. Krieger, a heel we're looking to highlight in the future.
It's a team effort. That's really what made the difference for Menelaus today. And I think that's going to be something that pays well to them. You're going to have to, if you're going to compete against them, Chaos Reigns, you're going to have to figure out how to get on the same page. Because Menelaus, they're on the same page.
Absolutely.
But we've got a 4-way steel cage tag match here. Vinland Saga and Jolly Roger were here before, but Set Fire and Hangtime Empire are debuting as a tag team for the first time. What's really on the line in this match?
Okay, so on the line in this match, we of course have some new feuds here. Hangtime Empire with Vinland Saga, and you got Set Fire here. Jolly Roger, of course, and Vinland Saga, 2 historic, I say historic, but 2 historic, groups of wrestlers, Skull Shot and Bone Soldier, of course. And then you've got Vinland Saga, you got Bear Winter and Wolf Klein. And then with Set Fire, you have, that's right, that's Executioner Goro and Sho Fujino. So that is why that one is important. Executioner Goro, of course, like I just said, the leader of Burn It All Down. So you essentially have 2 Burn It All Down factions with Conquest or Death factions in here. And so these are kind of the more aggressive factions within the group. They see themselves as the ones to take it all over. Conquest or Death, of course, working to become the holders of all the belts, be the penultimate Emperor's champions, if you will. Meanwhile, Burn It All Down, they want to become the thing that changes the organization from within by doing exactly what their name describes, burning it all down. And so that's why Set Fire is here. But of course, I'll give you a guess, but let's just point out Hangtime Empire.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I'm going to take a shot in the dark and say Johnny Hangtime isn't losing a match today.
Yeah, so you're correct, but let me explain why real quick. Hangtime Empire is actually the oldest and youngest brother, okay? Hangtime Heresy, the middle brothers, all right, fighting against Hangtime Empire for the glory. They want to come up and overtake their older brother. And Phil, who is a huge up-and-comer for this promotion, had the big win on the pay-per-view, taking his older brother's side and saying, listen, I know I'm not at your level yet. Let me help you enact your vision for what we're doing here. And that's why, despite a close battle, Hangtime Empire is taking it home.
Yeah, I mean, the Hangtime Empire is more than just this tag team. It has been a raucous, complete domination over this promotion so far. Now, will the fans always be happy to see the same teams win? We'll see. Someone's going to have to attack the Empire at some point, but we are in the early days, and people are still eating it all up. Look at that lively start bonus. And of course, Phil Hangtime gets a holy shit moment. Why not? Why not give you your third holy shit moment of the night? And why not decrease the cost for your steel cage matches so you can do them more often? Something I'm sure you're not going to make use of.
Yeah, no, listen, our promotion loves, high action, high octane, and very, risk-oriented matches. A lot of my wrestlers in this promotion, they do tend to have injury resilient. It was something that we looked at pretty heavily in the draft phase. But yeah, and now, of course, we've got the main event package coming out. Korosaru, Ume Amiko, and Emily Everett, three of the top talented wrestlers here coming in. And of course, it is an extra hype match because we've got Asahi King, Emily Everett's manager, coming in as the special referee.
I was going to say, I get the feeling, perhaps, that having the manager be a referee is not a conflict of interest. It feels like...
Yeah, so, maybe a conflict of interest, maybe not. And in the battle for Only Monster, Ume Amiko, of course, wanting to come out. She's a very strong wrestler, very talented, but unfortunately the weight behind Emily Everett right now is just too much. Korosaru, however, putting up a big fight. She is starting to build herself up as a heel that has come in and sort of vying for that third spot in the promotion amongst these very talented and very aggressive women. But Emily Everett in the close fight, of course, has the help of Asahi King, who maybe or maybe not throws a couple punches in there, and she's going to be the one that takes it home.
That is going to be a 4-star match. Surprisingly, your main event, despite getting the hype boost, ended up being the lowest scoring of the night. Luckily, because Asahi King has that full-time manager buff, you were able to get a little bit of an overness change. And, even if the popularity went down for a couple of these competitors, their morale went up and they remain hype. So I think, the only monster feud between Ume and Emily became hot. So now you have more matches, more options moving forward. I think that's going to be...
Which really was the goal here. I mean, we understand, of course, that, this match maybe fell a little bit more flat than we wanted it to, but the goal at the end of the day for the promotion was really to get Emily and Ume built up even further despite the four-way for the title. Those two are key to how we view the promotion going forward, and we're happy to see that they still pulled it out today.
Absolutely. You do get a 4.5-star. You and I made the exact same amount of creativity points over the course of this match. Now, whether your points are worth more than my points like they were during the pay-per-view, we shall see. But now we get into the fun part, because we're talking about two people who aren't here and can't defend themselves or the decisions that they made.
And while you have the results that you can take a gander at, I have no idea what's going to happen, which is extremely exciting.
It's time to get to our destination with Eduardo's weekly show here, which is starting with a recap package, because everyone agrees that Kyle Cage versus El Cuervo match was the best part of last week's show. But I have to say, not a great response from the fans. They don't seem to be loving a recap package. I don't know what to tell you on that.
Yeah, they're just not fans. They want the action to start, which is understandable. But I do see the vision here for what Eduardo's trying to build, for what Mr. Stuker is trying to build here.
It is a reminder that the charisma of these wrestlers does seem to matter, even in things like a recap package. It's not just about how good the match was when it happened. It's about who the people are and how much they're selling it when you give it that investigation. And also, let's be fair, all of our production segments are pretty rough right now and up to RNG, because our production producers aren't particularly great at this moment in time.
Yeah, you can say they suck. It's okay. We know they suck.
Vince Bailey was there to help and arguably made it worse. And when your producer that you're trying to give a boost to a segment makes it worse, it just makes it tough. So all of us, we're the key is we're all playing the long game, right? You need to get to that production facility. You have to. So
I mean, listen, I would have been happy stopping after the first pay-per-view because I won and taking the win. But at the end of the day, the goal is to play the long game here. I think that we are all on the same page that these production assistants and our video packages will improve. But right now, like you said, praise to RN Jesus.
Well, this is not an RNG decided match, I will say, because this is going to be Amber Manning, a former volleyball player, someone who's an entertainer, quick learner, someone who's put in a lot of work in the locker rooms and in the gym to try to get to where she needs to be. Suki Akiyama, she is the one. She is a workhorse. She is completely over with the fans, beloved despite her heel status. Gina Akatani, she's still got it. She's a little bit older in her career this
Still
point.
got it. Sorry, I love that. Still got it. We go from the one to she's still got it.
Yeah, I have to say, I think Gina needs to work on her confidence a little bit. But I do appreciate, she's still relatively over with the fans. A win could be an important push for her if she wants to get towards that main event status. But of course, Ivy Chavez is feeling the same way. She's upper tier of the upper middle carders, a face that is 25 years old. She's Miss America. And, Mrs. America, excuse me. She's married to America. That's a very important distinction, and I am glad you pointed it out.
It is.
But you've got 4 competitors here, 3 that are really looking for that win to break into the main event, and 1 who is already the one. So who would you be giving this match to?
Well, okay. So from a tactical perspective, running a promotion like this, I think you have to give it to Suki Akiyama because she is also close. If she loses this and gets too upset about it, she's on her way down, being at only 807 popularity, as we learned in the pay-per-view last week, what happens when you drop that a little bit. I could, however, also see building up Ivy Chavez or Amber Manning, but I do think it's going to go to Suki.
It is going to go to Suki. And Suki is going to give us, not the response you were hoping for. Unfortunately, this is something with pole matches that everyone needs to take into account. Pole matches are variable in terms of the effect they can have on a match. They can go big and give you a massive boost, or they can go bad and they can give you a detriment. And this one, unfortunately, this briefcase on a pole match hurt the match. The match effect was decreased, which is just, it is randomly determined, right? It could be the best 10 credits you spend if it goes well, but when it doesn't, you just spent 10 credits to make your match worse, and that's got to feel bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Not something the promotion's probably happy about, but at the end of the day, Suki Akiyama's still taking it. And still, I think building up that greatest wrestler feud between Ivy and Gina is going to benefit the promotion in the future. So obviously not exactly how you want to start off with the production segment going into that, but I see the vision for what is trying to happen here. And now you got a 4.5-star segment going for the new blood hype.
Yes, this is very important. And this first one I think is going to go over very well with the fans because it's the first time we're seeing a new blood segment on this show. La Sagrada Familia may or may not. I may or may not have been responsible for jumping the gun a little bit and making a couple of these factions for Eduardo, and some people needed to be added who weren't there originally. And once you've started a faction, you can't add someone new without taking a penalty unless you do it on the show. That's what's done here. Gabriel Rivera is now in La Sagrada Familia, which is going to be interesting because he and Chakal Pro, I believe, or is it Brady Velasquez, are currently feuding. He has a feud with one of his other members of Sagrada Familia. But right now, that doesn't matter because it's a huge rep boost for Sagrada Familia, especially because Gabriel Rivera is very popular with the fans. And everyone there, Chakal, Jason, Brady, all got over with the fans, or at least start to. Brady did get over. He's got an extra star now in all of his matches moving forward. That's what you want to see. That's the big.
No, yeah, this is the kind of segment that kind of redeems the last two parts of this match so far, going a little bit sideways. And of course, Chakal and Jason Cortez, very talented wrestlers. Two of them I thought about drafting, maybe may or not, especially Chakal. But seeing Brady Velasquez also get over with the fans, gonna be big. And so we got to be wondering going into this, was the plan to give it to Brady Velasquez before we knew he was going to go over? Are we looking at Caden Lee, James Parker, Jason Styles? I could see this going a lot of ways. These are very, very close in skill wrestlers. Jordan Amir, 892, is big, but is a heel. I could see the executionist giving it over for one of the other guys taking a bit of a hit to help one of these other guys climb.
You are in a position, right? Like Dywick and Jordan, I heard behind the scenes, may have originally been a match just the two of them before some things moved around to fit a package in. So that these two are getting, they're both 4-4s. They're both very popular. Jordan Amir, not that far away from becoming a face of the company if he continues to get a push. Brady Velasquez obviously just got a nice win. And with El Arcangel de Fuego as his manager, that's a big deal. But so is Caden Lee with El Tigre de Leon. El Tigre does not suffer losers. And Caden Lee did not appear at the pay-per-view. Certainly would like to get a nice start for himself.
Of course.
And I got to tell you, it's going to Caden Lee.
It is going to Caden Lee. Okay, see, I would have given it to Brady Velasquez, but I absolutely understand why it's going to Caden Lee. That makes sense. And it does look like it was a relatively hype match.
It was a very hype match, and I do think it's one of those things you have to keep in mind that Brady Velasquez wasn't over when this was planned. I think if Eduardo knew that Brady Velasquez was now going to be over and you could be building off of that momentum, maybe things play a little bit differently. But also, Caden, that 19 popularity boost, he's getting very close to 800. He could be a main eventer sooner rather than later. I think that feud's going to pay dividends for him in the long run. And you can see here, the pole match increased the effectiveness of this event. And now injury rates for pole matches will be decreased moving forward. So,
so it all works out.
You live by the pole, you die by the pole. Really?
Yeah. It all works out for Mr. Stuker here. Obviously the pole match being a detriment and then a benefit. And now we've got another segment, though. Has he gotten any holy shit moments this event, though?
No holy shit moments so far this
really
event.
Unfortunate.
It is a shame that it has not worked out that way. I will say, you can see here, because we already had a faction segment earlier, they did not like having it again. Now, that said, it does still give a nice boost to the Rising Sun. They did get a popularity boost. That 23 for adding a member, especially a member as good as Kenji Ryota, does make a difference. And it is important to note that Kenji got a huge popularity boost here as well. The overness effect wasn't quite as big. I think that's the thing. While it did get a boost, it wasn't quite as big as the boost we got with Sagrada Familia.
Sagrada Familia.
But we are now in a position where, in both cases, these factions are now better off. They have their full members. They are now at full strength, as Eduardo has planned for them. Very small factions. These are 3 or 4 person factions so far.
But I will say, just to shout it out, that's actually the strat. I think you and I have learned the hard way the danger of having too many people in large factions and how quickly those feuds can overheat. And so I do think this is an intelligent strat for the long game by Eduardo, running with the smaller factions, because he's going to be able to build a lot more out of it without it going too crazy too quickly.
That's certainly the hope. That's what you're going for if you're Eduardo. But right now we have a very interesting match. This is just a main. These are two people that are main event ready, I should say. Pink Arrow,
Okay.
sharp as an arrow. Someone who is very consistent across the board. Currently in that like mid tier of popularity, where a nice boost could get her to the main event, could get her over with the fans, whereas Juno Ripshaw, Mrs. XPW, a faction that definitely was not deleted to make room for the league that we currently have, she's already over with the fans. She has made a name for herself, the 25-year-old who is well over with the fans, who also wants to hit that popularity threshold, wants to be a main eventer. That's what they're fighting for. Only one of them is going to really get a main event caliber push. And who do you think it's going to be?
So if it's me, I'm giving it to Juno Ripshaw here, only because Pink Arrow's still got, some time to develop a little further, some overness with the fans. And I think building this feud up as the main event ready, giving it to Juno because Juno is closer and does have those stats to kind of stand and bang with the next tier of wrestlers might be the move. I'd understand if it goes to Pink Arrow because Pink Arrow is the face. You want to give it to the positive wrestler. But I actually think that for some of these weekly promotions, building up the heels going into the pay-per-views and then having the face come out on top, that is kind of an intelligent strat to do too. So if it's me, I'm giving it to Juno. But what did Eduardo decide to do?
You know what Eduardo decided to do? He decided to trust it to RN Jesus. We're simulating
RN Jesus,
and it does go to Juno. The
RNG
it
does go to Juno
with your idea here. Pink Arrow a little bit bummed by that result, but Juno Ripshaw certainly very hyped by it. And we're seeing a nice 4 and some change star match.
Yeah, not a bad match at all. No holy shit moments again, which is really unfortunate. But I do think that this is, I will say, of all of the stuff that's gone through this promotion's card so far, even though you're not getting some of the results you'd want to see for the weekly show in terms of popularity, I see some great storylines being built here. You can tell it's well thought out. And even though that last one was trusted to RN Jesus, I think Juno Ripshaw taking it adds just another level to the positive build that we're seeing here from this promotion.
Yeah, I am optimistic for them in the long run, but in the short run, we've still got one more match. Kenji Ryota
we do. I miscounted.
Sakota.
We do have one more match.
This is our main event. It's a tag steel cage match. Now, obviously, we just saw Kenji join the Rising Sun. It's not listed as the Rising Sun, but this is the Rising Sun, and the feud affected by this will be the Rising Sun versus La Sagrada Familia, two factions with strong heart feelings.
Yeah, and we've got the managers El Tigre de Neon and El Arcángel de Fuego, which are fire names, by the way.
Yes.
Of course, that pun intended.
One of them, literally. Yeah.
Yes, literally on fire. But yeah, I mean, you got Kenji Ryota and Ryuji Sakota, and then Cortez and Pro, Chakal Pro. Like I said, somebody I consider drafting. Mm-hmm. I think that guy's a winner for this promotion. Now, in terms of the two, can I see the stats? Yeah. So if it's me, even though you've got the build coming up with El Tigre de Neon, and I can see, Kenji Ryota and Ryuji Sakota being great wrestlers, you got to give it to La Sagrada Familia. It's just Cortez and Pro are too good. I think it's got to go to them. What did Eduardo do?
So here's the fun part. Originally, Eduardo had picked for the Rising Sun to win this one. However, at the last second, he changed RN Jesus take the wheel.
Oh, and they win.
And Rising Sun wins. And look at that. Both factions more popular for it. It's his best match of the night. Plenty of intensity.
That's excellent.
We got some blood. Somehow, despite two people bleeding, did not get a holy shit moment. This game is cruel to the man who had, due to my own negligence, had the most need to gain creativity points, getting the fewest points. You hate to see it. You hate to see the game.
You hate to see it. Really unfortunate. Blame the DM. And,
it is the DM's fault in this case. I can't. I will say, sorry.
Oh,
please,
go ahead.
please.
No, you go ahead, please.
I want to do a quick recap because I understand that we have some people who are very busy right now. So we're just going to do a quick recap of the biggest takeaways for Eduardo here. The recap package did not work very well. Need to take charisma into account, I believe, more than match quality when picking a recap package. The New Blood segments both did their job, but Sagrada Familia was more powerful because it was the first one. And when you've got two segments of the same type, even if they're focused on different people, the game penalizes you for it, which is the thing we learned here. The pole matches, of course, the first one, it hurt the match that it was a pole match. It got that negative effect that we saw, but we got a positive effect for the second one. So we are seeing that the pole match can be a big winner or a big loser, depending on what the fans are latching onto. And then finally, of course, our Rising Sun versus Sagrada Familia feud continues to be a big one for this organization. That gave them their best night of the match of the night. Though Juno Ripshaw versus Pink Arrow, Juno Ripshaw getting the win on that. I do think, like you said, I have some long-term upside I see for them. And of course, we cannot forget that not only did the Sagrada Familia Rising Sun match go over, which that hot match is going to be big for y'all. But Brady Velasquez is over with the fans, which means that he is now going from a 3-2 to a 4-3 in terms of the stats. And you can't stress enough how much that matters. No holy shit moments, unfortunately. Yeah. And you're going to do slightly worse than Xander and I did this week. Unfortunately, Eduardo, but not
still,
that much worse.
Still very respectable. Also, the steel cage match getting improved for Eduardo down there. Did get the level up on the steel cage match we saw before.
It helped the match. It did not level up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood that then. Apologies. But the pole match did level up.
The pole match did level up. It does not. Okay. It's not as likely to add to an injury next time around, which is nice. But really, it's the variability on the quality.
The variability
is going to get you. But that is going to be where we leave Destination today. But it is time to go to SWA Prime Time.
SWA Prime Time.
Which is the only way I can pronounce that word because I watched too much NFL Prime Time when I was younger.
I will say, okay, that I do respect Mr. C80s here for building out cards in the pure wrestling style. Mm-hmm. Definitely, arguably the most well-versed of our group in terms of actual wrestling. But unfortunately, did not play the video game as well, which he himself joked last week. So he's got to come into this one ready to roll, trying to get some stuff back.
Yeah, I mean, this is where we start to see how this philosophy is going to play in the long term. Not a lot of gimmick matches on the card. You can see he's got the points. He is saving up these creativity points. And who knows, maybe he's got a plan to recruit a whole bunch of wrestlers. Maybe he's got a plan to go out and upgrade some facilities, get some high-end stuff right away, maybe build another belt, maybe build a gimmick match of his own.
Maybe his next pay-per-view is just going to be the most expensive pay-per-view of all time. We don't know.
He could be saving all those points for his equivalent of WrestleMania. It's all in play. But for now, he has Dominus Tenebris, which is Christopher Devlin and Assassino. Christopher Devlin, of course, one of the better heels that wrestling has ever seen. Dominatus indeed. Assassino, a very classic heel as well, someone who's been climbing the ranks regularly. And then you have Axel Dust and Kevin Bates, two people who have mostly been thrown here because both of these competitors on Dominus Tenebris hate Axel Dust. Just cannot stand the guy. And I believe Assassino and Kevin Bates have a feud as well. So you have the two who work together and are on a tag team regularly, and the two people that those people tend to hate in their individual fights. Where do you think that leaves? Oh, I think that's a faction. Dominus Tenebris is a faction, not a tag team. I misspoke.
Yeah. You're good. I gathered that much. Dominatus Tenebris, of course, the stronger faction, but you've got Devlin and Assassino. Assassino, a guy that my promotion looked at. That guy's super talented, of course. And, I don't blame anyone for hating Axel Dust. I mean, look at him, okay? Mm-hmm. That guy's got a very punchable face. Mm-hmm. And so for that reason, I would give it to Devlin and Assassino. I think that's where Walter's going with it today.
That is where Walter's going with it today. Look, a faction that works together is always going to beat two randos that don't. But Kevin Bates has gone from content to happy. He's just happy to be here.
Happy to be here.
Somehow,
and a great match.
Devlin and Assassino lost morale for winning that match.
Very interesting. Definitely a bit of a Kenny Diaz situation coming in there for him. Not as bad as Kenny Diaz, of course.
Yeah,
but,
we call that pulling a Kenny, I guess. I find that fascinating because there is no negative trait that would attest for that. I guess they're like, you know what? Give us people who are on our level. Why are we fighting these 719 scrubs? I'm pretty sure that that's it, and I'm pretty sure that's why Axel and Devin, or Kevin, I should say, are just happy to be here because if you look at the average popularity, a near 200-point difference. And that is going to affect morale. If they think that you're putting them against lower tier workers, they're not necessarily a huge fan even when they win because they think that they should be fighting a higher level of competition. So
absolutely. But Devlin and Assassino with Axel Dust and Kevin Bates still putting on, as you're pointing to right now, a really solid match. Almost 5 stars for your first match of the day, which is exactly what C80's needed coming into today, given how the pay-per-view went for him last week. So it's looking promising to start. Let's see where this recap
It's a very good start. And look at the recap package that got nearly 4 stars
Nearly 4 stars,
because it highlighted Christopher Devlin, Connor Creed, and Drew King, 3 charismatic wrestlers. This is what we're talking about when we talk about these packages and who to highlight. And also, I will say, it helps that your producer wasn't trash. Didn't get quite as much experience, funnily enough. I have no idea what determines experience for producers. I promise I would tell you if I did. But regardless, this is
we'll have to
a nicer
consult the
result.
Journey of Wrestling Discord.
Yeah, the journey.
I'm sure there's some expert in there that knows, but we don't.
We honestly should join the Journey of Wrestling Discord. Shout out to
I'm in there. I'm in there.
Oh,
I'm in there.
Can you give me an invite? I need to.
I will send you
an
invite right after we film this. Absolutely, they are. It seems like a lot of cool people in there.
Yeah. Well, we've got a couple more really cool people. The Lads, a faction that is throwing out Amanda Ace and Angelina Cardinal versus a new tag team telenovela, which was formed with Maestro Gomez and Consequencia. Consequencia, when she's not dealing with some drug issues, a very talented wrestler. They are definitely some up-and-coming wrestlers here. And,
and I'd like to point out real quick to add on to that, Layla Hertz, a legendary wrestler amongst the promotions, someone Walter and I may or may not have fought over, and by that I mean he drafted her, and then I tried to draft her because I didn't hear that part, and I was very distraught. So definitely someone I think benefits any card in which they're managing. I'm gonna like straight up, you can finish your spiel on what's gonna happen here, but I gotta say, if it doesn't go to the Lads, I will be astonished.
Well, you're gonna be astonished, my friend, because telenovela are here for the upset. A strong start for them. They're coming out of the gates. Walter wants everyone to know right away, this is a tag team to be reckoned with. These are not just 2 random people I threw in here. These are 2 people who know how to work together, and they're doing it here. I don't think this hurts the Lads too much. Amanda Ace and Angelina Cardinal are going to continue to do great things elsewhere, though they are not thrilled by losing here, but it's ultimately a neutral change overall, and it's a 4-star match, which is ultimately sometimes that's enough at the end of the day. But
my disappointment is immeasurable, but well done. Still a 4-star match. Congrats to telenovela. I'm not a fan though. All right, Layla Hertz doesn't pick losers. Okay.
Well, and here we go. So I saw here that the recap package was giving a producer bonus, and I just assumed that was the segment she was attached to. But no, she was attached to the feud package, and it went terribly. Oh, my God.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Lowered the hype for the feud.
Oh, no.
40% effectiveness.
How does that even happen?
What a disaster. I don't know if Kenzo Nai and Kiichi Sakurai are just not the most charismatic people.
Maybe low charisma.
Kenzo Nai is 3 charisma.
He's a 3-star.
Look, there's no way that Keiichi Sakurai is that bad at charisma. I think
it's just unlucky.
Amelie Gonzalez shit the bed. I don't know what to tell you. I don't like calling out individual employees, behind the scenes staff. I think that that's a cop out in most cases. But that feud package had a job to do. It had things it needed to accomplish, and this feud was going great after the first pay-per-view. It was one of his better feuds, and now it's taken a hit, and I guess it's a reminder while we are leveling up these production facilities, it could be a crapshoot, and sometimes RNGesus looks unfavorably upon you. What a shame.
I do agree with you that typically you don't want to dunk on an individual employee, but when that individual employee is the one responsible, right? They are the one in charge of this duty. It is nobody else's fault. Amelie Gonzalez, you said it was a crapshoot. Well, she was where the crapshoot ended up coming from, okay? And it was all over this feud, unfortunately. And you know, that's really disappointing. That being said, of course, you still got Kenzo Nai and Guru Sanji here, looking for a good match. Hopefully, elevating the card back up to where we were looking after the first three episodes of the card.
Yeah, Kenzo Nai, of course, lost that match to Keiichi Sakurai last time around. Also lost a Battle Royale, which is why he's 0-2 after only one pay-per-view event. But he is still the inner core. He is still very liked by the fans, close to getting over, a main eventer to be sure. And with those 3-3 stats, he could easily become a 4-4 if given enough of a push. Meanwhile, Guru Sanji, the Prophet, he is a big match specialist. He's someone that likes to take risks, likes to stand out from the crowd. He is a face, and he is hungry to prove himself to these fans and get himself closer up that upper mid card so he can be a real threat one day. Who do you think has the win here?
It's got to go to Kenzo Nai. Surely it goes to Kenzo Nai. The feud package with Keiichi Sakurai, you're trying to build Kenzo Nai up. He's really close to that overness, to becoming an even greater wrestler. I could see this guy pushing over 900 popularity, you know, if that's what C80s has in the plan. You know, excellent heel, needs a win here. Yeah, and that's what I would have done as well.
Well, and, you know, he needed the morale boost because I think after that segment went bad, Kenzo Nai's like, fine, I'll do it myself. Gets himself a popularity change. Big morale bonus here. But notably, the match itself, the submission match, did not do a lot for Walter
decreased here for this event. Or was that the earlier event?
No, it decreased. You're absolutely right. It ended up hurting more than helping, which typically does not happen. I don't know if these are just two people that for whatever reason are not built for a submission match. You know, submission matches, they are cheap, right? The potential benefit is lower than the average. And once you get a little bit more experience in the submission match, you're so close to leveling it up. Maybe that changes. Maybe it's more likely moving forward that you're going to get the positive effect there. But again, this is just a bad roll of the dice, I think. Because
I mean, the card
3.5 star, this should be better than this.
Yeah, the card looks so good off of the first three, arguably better than any of us that have performed yet today. But unfortunately, you got the 2-star feud package where Amelie Gonzalez slaps Kenzo Nai and Keiichi Sakurai in the face, and then you follow it up with what I would argue is a pretty decent match here. Builds Kenzo Nai up, great for the vision, you know, that I can see C80's building here in terms of the future of his promotion. Unfortunately, it just falls flat.
It does. And we have a third video package, and it has once again... I mean, look, this one went fine, in that Cobra Gaston is slightly more over than he used to be, and he did get a popularity change. Thank goodness that Livia Scribner is here, which, for the record, this package, if you look beyond just what the text says here, it turns out that Cobra Gaston and Livia Scribner are dating, which is what this package really focuses on. So it was definitely, I think, an interesting twist here. One that I think is going to go over, very well at the long run. I think, they're clearly building something. The 50% effectiveness is mean. It's bullying at this point, and I'm mad for, because here's the thing. I know that, you know, Walter might be watching this and thinking we're blowing a lot of smoke up his ass. And I would understand, like, no one likes to be talked down to when things aren't going well. But, like, my goal here, as much as anything, is to help teach you guys how to play this game, what it is that you should be doing in order to put together some good cards, to put together the things you need to get back on top. And I genuinely thought this card was very good. I think
I did too. You look at how it started also. This is just, like you said, it's bullying at this point from RNG. Okay. Even the Kenzo Naya and Guru Sanji, you take that match and say it could have been a little bit better, a little bit worse. But the packages are ruining the hype for poor C80s here. He had such a good card built up and started so high. I was so excited for this after what happened last week. And now it's just looking like more of the same, and through no fault of his own. I think this is a great card. I think even relative to the game, this is very similar to a card I myself would have probably put up in his position with the pure wrestling, the way he's organizing. And unfortunately, again, the fans don't like this second half of this card. And that's really, and it's the video packages. It's Amelie Gonzalez. Fire that lady.
It really is not going well for her. It's a bad night for her. I will say, I think all of us are going to run into this at some point, right? We're all going to end up, like my producer did not do a very good job during the pay-per-view. This is just a good note for everybody, is while we're trying to level up to the production facility, the road is going to be rocky because no one's good at this yet. And you're seeing how little experience. You need to get to 75 experience for the video package to level up and have a higher average effect over time and be more consistent. And you got 6. And that's like, the recap got 14 because it did somewhat well. Your experience is directly based on how well it goes. And how well it goes is variable until you get the level ups that make it so it goes better. And that's just like, this is going to be the up and down that everybody has to balance through, right? Everybody is going to have to ask themselves this question: what am I willing to sacrifice to get there? I think it's still worth it. I think even despite this, I would still recommend doing 2 to 3 production segments every show, because once you get to that 25, once you update your production facility, you're getting 2 extra fights, 2 extra segments every single show, including the pay-per-views. And that's so much more room for storytelling. That's so much more room for hype matches, getting more people engaged on your card. It is worth it. But this show is just an example of how hard that road is to get there sometimes. Yeah. But we do have the Gastons here, a tag team with Cobra Gaston and Viper Gaston, 2 brothers coming together against Ray Sangre and Virginia Warbler. Of course, the Gastons, we just saw Cobra and his...
Virginia Warbler. I love that name.
It's a great name. It's a great name, but, we saw the power that Cobra and Livia have in their relationship. Even if the crowd didn't like it, I think they look like they're having a great time. But, Ray Sangre and Virginia Warbler, these are some top talents here, some faces of within the company. Not faces of the company, but faces all the same. Going head-to-head. Who do you think takes this one?
It's got to go to the Gastons. I think the Gastons with Livia Scribner, you built them up. You're building up the dating. Ray Sangre and Virginia Warbler don't look like bad wrestlers, but I don't think they have the same synergy, the same, story depth, and all that. I feel like that's where Walter would go, especially.
It does seem like where it would go. And unfortunately, it's another 3.5 star match. I think this one, it was a friendly contest. So you got the Cobra versus Virginia feud. But unfortunately, not a hype match. No additional hype added to the feud. We did see a little bit of a morale increase, but this is the danger sometimes when you have a main event that doesn't have any gimmicks attached, right? This was a very low-cost card, not a lot of gimmicks involved. And the one time he used a gimmick, he went for the cheapest gimmick on the table, and it backfired.
And it went poorly, yeah.
So it's, I think, Walter, we're going to give the recap here in case you don't have time to watch the whole thing. Here's what you need to know. Your packages betrayed you. You had a great recap package to start, but all the others went terribly through no fault of your own. This is just the production facility has not been upgraded yet. Things are going to be inconsistent until you get there. And it is important to note that the experience is based on how well they do. So you're going to have to decide which packages to push, and you're going to have to hope for better results down the line. Your best match was your Dominatus Tenebris versus Axel and Kevin. I think you got a nice match that worked to the strengths of those wrestlers, and you saw that pay off here. Telenovela, a decent debut, mostly got away with what would have been a 3.5-star match because you have these very talented, charismatic wrestlers here. But what we saw here more than anything, we saw a submission match that backfired because submission matches are not inherently positive, unfortunately. It seems like this one didn't quite get there. Sometimes
no, you are close to the level up, so
you are close to the level up, and it'll be better in the long run. But right now, it didn't quite give you what you needed here, and as a result, that feud did not go up, and the feud package that you built actually made that one go down. But the other lesson here is that not having gimmicks can really hurt if you're not doing those like added finishes and coming up with other ways to make the match interesting. You have a main event that's just a 2v2 essentially, and you got 3.5 stars, and that's a fine match on a card with something else that's building towards it. But you got those 15-15 creativity points, and I think you're going to need to use them because right now you got no holy shit moments. You started a few feuds, but none of them went hot here, and you're going to end with less than 4 stars for your overall card for the night, and just 35 creativity points for the event rating. I think you did a lot of things right. I think the packages going against you was really unfortunate, but I also do think you're going to need to utilize some gimmicks if you're going to keep up with your competitors, or come up with some innovative match styles, maybe create your own kind of segments and things to really push things here. But any final thoughts before we look at our standings here? Because
I mean, listen, I definitely see, and I will say this very honestly, regardless of how well my card performed tonight in comparison, I see the vision here for some long-term stuff that I am envious of for these two cards. That not yours. I'm not getting into yours yet. I'm getting into them. But I see some long-term stuff that they're building here that I think is really intelligent. I may or may not have to co-opt some of these ideas because I do see the vision here for the long game plan that maybe or may not, that I may or may not have been enacting with my strategy of quote unquote winging it. But I'm starting to see, how some of the strats are playing out amongst our different promotions. Of course, I see your promotion as well having a really solid night tonight. I think it's going to be really close between you and me. It's looking pretty exciting going into the weekly matches now.
Yeah, there's it's a very interesting place for us to be at the moment. Obviously, we're looking at our big winner once again. Wednesday Ninth triumphs here with 32.6 thousand fans gained. I think the only reason that you got slightly more fans than me is because you had a lead after what happened last time. Like that 500.
We had the same score tonight, so I think that was genuinely just.
I had slightly fewer people tune in because you were slightly more hyped coming in. And I'll have to live with that. But I do feel like the fact that our boosts were this close tells us we both did the things that needed to be done. Eduardo losing 1.6K fans. I honestly, I think that there were a couple things that had he realized how mechanics worked, would have been sharper. He's not going to make the same two of the same feud package in the same night, mostly because his factions are now in order. I'm very optimistic for him, and I think losing 1.6K fans is basically nothing. Walter, unfortunately, losing 63.3 thousand fans. That's tough. This is why we only drafted 70 wrestlers, because I wanted to have some wiggle room in case something like this happened. This is what happened to me when I first played against the computers, and it is far from over, right? You can make up fan loss with some really good events, but Walter is in more of a hole now than he was heading in. And it's just a reminder that these weekly shows, they may not have the same prestige that our main events do, but oh boy, can they have a massive effect on how people perceive your company.
Absolutely. And, I do think that, like I said, not only is it not over, I think they've got some really good ideas about where their promotion is going that they are making me sit down and going to have to go to the drawing board and figure out. So not for nothing, I'm feeling the pressure. I imagine you are too. But you also being a bit of an expert, I'm exceptionally feeling the pressure. I'm on top early, which is not the place I expected to be. And I think that a lot of you have a good idea about where you want to go, and I'm gonna have to start to figure that out now as well. I'm starting to understand the game mechanics. This has been a blast so far, seeing what everyone is doing, who they're building up, who they're breaking down. Learning how video segments work. All of us actually having been penalized. Me in the pay-per-view. You guys here tonight with some of the video packages, and Walter not even getting punished for a mechanic issue, just getting punished because his producer hated him this week. But yeah, I'm excited for where we're going here.
Yeah, I am too. And, I'm not going to, I think I'm just going to close by saying our next weekly show are due by end of day Thursday. I'll be recording this again on Friday. Don't know if you'll be joining me or if I'll be doing that on my own.
I will be there. Thursdays are a good day. I will be there to help record.
Friday is the day. It's due on Thursday, so I can record on Friday.
Understood. I'll probably be there still.
Okay. Well, it's been a pleasure to be joined by you as always. And until next time, we'll see you in the ring. But for now, goodbye, Internet.